Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I am Tori Lynn. Let's blossom today. Today, I am going to be playing around with the ColourPop Star Wars Mandalorian palette. This palette is so cute. Look at that little baby Yoda's freaking face. He's so cute. I grew up watching Star Wars. I grew up watching Disney movies, and I'm a huge ColourPop fan. So naturally, when ColourPop created this palette, I really wanted to try it out, but I've had a hard time getting my hands on it. It's been sold out every time I have gone to try to get it. I recently was able to get my hands on it, so I snagged one, and here we are. We are able to finally make a video. This is actually my very first time getting into this, so I'm very excited. If you guys want to hear my little review from this palette and see what shadows I used to create this look, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and let's just jump into the video. So this palette is so stinking cute. It's a little bit smaller than I had anticipated, if that makes sense. I was expecting this palette to be just a hair bigger, and I don't know why. I was initially thinking it would be about the same size as this palette, which is really not that much smaller, but here's the box. It's got an adorable little picture of Baby Yoda or Baby Grogu or Child or the Bounty or one of his many names. And then of course on the back it's got all the shadow names. And I love that it's mostly matte, but it does have some pops of shimmer with some green kind of shimmery things. It also even has a shimmery little frog on the back. I think that's adorable. That frog is cute. And then of course the palette looks the same for the most part, matte with a few little shimmery dots on it. And the same with the shade names. But like I was saying, this palette is actually a little smaller than I had anticipated. This palette, the one that I have behind it, this is from a Doe Color, Dream in Color. This was some other palettes that I got from Christmas. But I just want to show in reference, these are both in 9 shade palettes. They're both 3x3s. But I just wanted to show the reference of why this palette is a little smaller than I had anticipated. Look at the size difference. I mean, it's not a ton smaller, but it's a little smaller than I was expecting. But let's go ahead and open her up here so you can actually look at the shades. The palette's a little messy on the inside, but it's really cute. So these are the... Okay, that is really upsetting. That beautiful gold shade called the Force, it was a darker gold shade, just fell out of the pan and it just shattered all over my desk. So I'm going to try to pick up some of those chunks and stick it in there just so I will be able to use it somewhat. I've never had that happen with a ColourPop shadow before. I'm a little disappointed. I bought this for my cousin for her birthday also, so I'm hoping that she didn't have any issue with that. That would be really sad. But I mean, it literally just like completely broke apart on my desk. Like there are chunks everywhere. So I'm very sad about that. Not that these palettes were that expensive, but like still, you don't buy a palette and go, oh, I hope one of these shades completely falls out of the palette before I ever get to use it. It's like that shade was stunning. It was a beautiful deep gold, and that was actually one of the shades I was kind of thinking about using today. And that shade is a stunning gold shade. It's beautiful, but I'm so bummed about that, you guys. I'm really a little irritated, to be honest. More than just bummed, I'm irritated. I'm a little pissed. Like, I literally haven't touched this palette hardly. It came in the mail. I brought it in my room and I set it down on my desk, and it's just been sitting on my desk. I haven't dropped it. I haven't messed with it. I haven't done anything with this palette, so it's not like I did anything to compromise it. So I'm guessing that either it just got totally messed around with in the mail or something went wrong in manufacturing, but it probably was just the shipping process. It took her like over a week to get here, and I ordered it in January, so well after the holidays and stuff. So I picked up as much of that shadow as I could and shoved it back in that pan. I'm really bummed about that. honestly, I'm a little bit on the pissed off side about that. Like, that just kind of really irritates me. I mean, it's nobody's fault, I guess. So I'm gonna go ahead now and just toss on my skin because we're not here to see all of my skin and stuff. You know, we've seen me do that 1,000 times. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw my skin and my foundation, all that good stuff on, and I'll come back with that done, and then we will jump into the eyes. Okay, so I finished up my skin. I went ahead and set it into my bronzer and my highlight. I did not do my blush, however, just because I'm not quite sure what color I want to do with my blush. But let me run through what products I used real fast, just so you guys kind of get an idea. So for foundation, I used my e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation in the shade Light Ivory. And then for concealer, I used my Juvia's Place concealer in the shade 21. This concealer is new to me. This is actually my second time using it in a full look, and I do really like it. I still have a little bit of creasing under the eyes that I don't typically get with like my Shape Tape, but it does a really good job of having a nice coverage. So if you're looking for a cheaper dupe to the Shape Tape, honestly, this one is a lot cheaper. It's like half the price or even less maybe, and it does a really good job, honestly. I do get a little more creasing under my eyes, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I just always have creases under my eyes, and some concealers do a little better job of dealing with that than others. And when you're going with a more drugstore brand or cheaper brand, they don't usually take care of that as much. But honestly, this one's not terrible, and for the price and the coverage you get from it, it's a really good concealer. And then I, of course, baked that using my Coty Translucent Airspun Powder. I use the shade Translucent Extra Coverage, and then I set my whole face down with my Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Complexion Powder, and I have been using the shade Porcelain. This one is also a newer product to me, and I actually really like it. The only thing I feel like I noticed with this powder is my foundation still feels a little bit tacky. For a little bit, I don't feel like it completely sets that powder down as far as getting rid of that tackiness, but it does usually keep it in place and stuff. It just takes that foundation a little bit longer to dry, and I'm never really sure why. I don't know. And then I used two different highlights today. I started with the Jouer Lucky Cream Highlight Palette, and I used the shade Camilla. It's the lightest shade in the palette, and it looks a little bit grungy because it is a cream palette. And I use this Luxie Duo brush that did at one point, I think, was used for maybe a blush or something, a bronzer, I don't know. It has a little bit of leftover product in it, so it does tend to pick up a little bit of that and turn this highlight a little dingy looking in the palette. But it's actually a really, really white highlight, so that's why it looks like that. But then I set that, because it's a cream highlight, I set that with my Pat McGrath Sublime Skin Highlight Trio, and I used the two lightest shades in the palette, Iridescent Pink and Fine Gold, and I mixed those two and just set it right over the top and made my skin super glowy. I love these two highlights, but for some reason today I wanted to go a little extra glowy, being that we're going to be using the ColourPop Star Wars Mandalorian palette. I just thought it would be fun to go a little more iridescent and glowy, little outer spacey. Oh, and I also forgot, for bronzer I used also a new product. I used a lot of these products in my last makeup video. This is the Morphe Glama bronzer in the shade Originator. This bronzer, by the way, is massive. It is a ginormous bronzer, and this is like the medium shade, and it's a really, really pretty bronzer. I absolutely love this bronzer. I have used it a few times since I've gotten it, and I just think it is a stunning bronzer. Makes a great nose contour. I don't know, it's just a really, really pretty bronzer for me. So I also used that. Like I said, I did not put on a blush yet because I'm just not sure which color I want to go. Otherwise, I probably just would have used a nude blush. But I might want to throw on something a little different later. I just wanted to wait until I got my eyes done. So let's go ahead and jump into this cute little palette. I can't get over how adorable their little baby Yoda is. I know his name's Baby Grogu, but honestly, I prefer to call him Baby Yoda. When I first found out his name was Baby Grogu, I was like, Come on, Disney. You've had a year to give him a name and that's what you gave him. But then I watched the episode and it grew on me every time Mando called him Grogu and he turned around and made his little noises. It grew on me. But I still like to call him Baby Yoda because it is. Don't really know that I talked about the inside because then that one shadow fell out. So it's got a nice little mirror and then it says cutest in the galaxy down here with a little Yoda guy. And then these are the shades. And then it's got another little adorable frog down here in the corner. I think is really cute that they added that frog in. I already set my lids down. I actually just used my pressed powder when I was setting my skin to set my lids down, which is a good thing because there's not really a good matte cream shade. But there is a good crease shade in here. So I think I'm going to start with that good crease shade down here called Just Like a Tatooine. I'll pop that right in the crease. Although apparently that shadow or that pressed powder doesn't set down the crease as well as I'd hoped it would. I'll pop that in the crease. What I love about ColourPop, first of all, they're a really well-priced brand. When you go into Ulta, they're always on the like drugstore side, but their products are so much better quality than drugstore. Their shadows are always so well pigmented. They just always perform so well. They perform like a high-end product at a low-end or drugstore price. I love them. I was so excited. My cousin, she sent me this palette on Instagram. She was like, this palette's so cute. I love this palette. Like, I would love to have this. I could see myself using these shades. And I was like, yeah, it's really cute, but it's been so hard to get your hands on. Every time I've gone and looked, it's been out of stock. So anyways, I went and looked when she sent me the link and it was in stock. And I was like, I'm not going to say anything to her, but I got it anyways. And since it was in stock, I got one for both her and I. And I want to say they had free shipping at the time, but I got both of us a palette. So normally, if I'm being honest, I would take this a brown, dark brown, almost kind of a red brown, called Droid Protocol, and I'd pop that in the outer corner with one of these shimmery shades and call it a day. But I feel like I gotta jump into these green shades. So I'm gonna go into this lighter green shade here in the middle of the palette called a Baby Face. Oh, that's a cute name. It is kind of like the Baby Yoda shade. And I'm gonna work that right over top of that crease shade. I think I want to work that shade all the way across the lid as well. Just kind of coat everything in this shade. This color reminds me of mint ice cream, like a mint chocolate chip ice cream. Or even a pistachio. Could even be a pistachio ice cream. But it makes me think of ice cream. This last fall, I did a look with green. And I was talking about how I really don't have a lot of green shadows. And then in the last couple of weeks, have gotten 2 palettes that are like majority green. You know, now I can't say that. Now I'm going to take this more olivey green. It's called Little Frog. I love all the names in these. They're adorable. And I'm going to work that on the outer half of the lid here. So I'm going to kind of start it in the outer crease. And then kind of work it in the crease a little ways. About like, I don't know, halfway, maybe a little bit more. Halfway to like 2/3 or so. And then I'm going to start bringing it onto the lid. Earlier today, I watched Tangled. And I've got a dream song stuck in my head. It's not a bad song, but it's just like so repetitive and catchy and stuck in my head. Let's go one step further and take that darkest green shade called Float Your Crib. And I'm going to pop that just right in the outer V, right in the outer crease. The one thing I can say is these shadows are a little bit messy in the pan. I'm trying to be careful not to get a lot of fallout on my face because I have already kind of finished my makeup as far as my skin goes, but they are very dusty. Now I'm just going to take a nice blending brush and just give everything a good soft blend. The shadows blended together really well, so this part isn't necessary. I just like to take the extra step just because I like to make sure everything really does have a great seamless blend and to make sure the edge is really soft. Now I want to take the shade called Sipping Soup. It's that green shimmery shade, and I'm just going to start popping that on the lid. I'm going to take it all the way from the inner corner all the way out till we start reaching that darker green shade. I wasn't going to use that shade, but it just kind of started calling to me. I don't know. I felt like I needed to. Then we're going to take the next shade called Right Hand Mando, and we're going to pop that just right next to the inner corner on the lid. Like the inner 1/3 of the lid there. Just kind of trying out all these shades and creating a fun look. Just testing them all out. Plus I just kind of feel like it was a little bit of a darker look, and I don't know, my eyes are small and I like my looks to be a little bit brighter. So if you're okay with a little bit of a darker look, then you don't have to add this shade in. I like a little bit of a brighter look. And I'm kind of going to fade in to that inner corner highlight. So I want to try that lightest shade and see if it's an okay inner corner highlight. If not, we'll grab something different. I will use this palette later and try the more warmer neutrals. And we'll try that shade that fell out later. But so we're going to go ahead and take that lightest shimmery shade in the palette called Precious Cargo. And we're going to pop that right on the inner corner. It's not a bad inner corner highlight. It's not as bomb as my whipped cream or my Flexitarian, but it's actually a pretty nice inner corner. I feel like this look just needs a little bit of under eye smoke out. So I'm going to take that medium green shade, which was called Little Frog. I almost just said Little Foot, like the dinosaur. And we're going to smoke that out. Actually, I think I want to take the lightest green shade, which is called Baby Face, and I want to go over top of that shade. Now I'm just going to take my brush that I used to set my makeup with and just kind of sweep under my eyes. Make sure I don't have any fallout down there. I really don't think that I do, but so we'll just kind of clear anything out that was down there. And then I'm going to take my setting spray because I didn't set my skin down yet. And I'm going to use the Morphe Mattifying Continuous Setting Mist and spray my skin down. So I think I've decided on a darker blush today. I'm going to use another ColourPop product. This is the Disney Designer Collection. It's just in the shade Kissin' a Frog. Just kind of a darker, mauvier blush. Just think this will look really pretty. Just to kind of go with that darker foresty green. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly throw on some lashes, and then while I'm doing that, I'm going to think about what I want to use for a lip product today. So I think I want to kind of go with a more nude lip. I went back and forth. I think this would be really pretty with a lip color. Something similar to my shirt, this kind of deep burgundy color. Then I also thought a pretty pink would be good, but I think I just want to go with something a little more nude, just because Baby Yoda's outfit, he's a little more on the nude side, so I just wanted to stay with something a little more neutral. So I grabbed this Sephora Lip Liner. It's a, what is it? It's a lip liner to go. It's one of their like mini ones that they have in the checkout line. Got this a couple years ago, and it is in the shade called 16 Nude Beige. So I'm going to go ahead and line my lips with this real quick. When I bought this lip, I was really disappointed because I thought it was going to be more this pinky color, and it was a lot more nude than I had expected. And I was like, To me, a lot of times, especially by itself, it looks like it just like covered my lips in concealer or something. I don't know. Caked it in foundation and left it. Like, I don't know. Don't love it. So I'm going to top it off with this Ish Hydra Gloss in the shade Luster. This has got a really soft pink to it, so I think it'll look really pretty over the top. It'll give it just kind of a glossy pink look, but still kind of keep it in that nude family. I've never used this nude before. I was looking for a nude that I haven't used with you guys 1,000 times. I actually really like it. I think it's really pretty. It's really soft, a little more subdued, a little too nude compared to what I normally go for, but honestly I think it's really pretty. I think if you're looking for a nude that's really gonna make the eyes the focus of the look, then this would be it, because it's very nude. It definitely blends in with the skin, but that shimmer keeps it from completely blending into where it does look like I just threw some foundation on my lips and let it go. But honestly, I think it's a really pretty nude lip. And I love the way this eye look turned out. I'm not a big green eyeshadow person. To be honest, I don't use green eyeshadows very often. Like I said, I didn't really have very many green eyeshadows before. I had a few. I honestly thought when I did that green eyeshadow look a month or two ago that I had never done one before. And then I was scrolling back through my channel and I had done one like over a year ago. Back when I first started my channel. This is a really pretty look. I honestly think it's gorgeous. I think this lip really did tie it all together. And I think it's just super pretty, super fun. I think this palette is really cute. If you're wanting to get into more green eyeshadows, I think this palette would be a really perfect palette to start with, just because these are really easy greens. They're not too overly vibrant. They're not neons. They're not bright. They're really simple, easy greens to work with. Plus, ColourPop, like I said, is such a cheap brand with such great quality. Overall, I really like this palette. I am really, really bummed about this shade falling out of the palette and totally shattering all over my desk and all over my stuff. Definitely gonna have to do some cleaning to get all that taken care of. I'm glad I was able to pick some up and put it back in the palette. There's also, these shadows are a little dusty, a little messy, but overall I am happy with the quality of the eyeshadows, and I'm happy with how this look turned out. Let me know what you guys think about this look. Do you think it turned out cute? I really, really do. If you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, give this video a like, and hit that subscribe button if you guys haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!